Mr. Speaker, I said enough is enough, and I mean it. And that means I am prepared to do what must be done. So early next year, we will introduce new legislation to make unambiguously clear that if you enter the UK illegally, you should not be able to remain here. Instead, you will be detained and swiftly returned either to your home country or to a safe country where your asylum claim will be considered. And you will no longer be able to frustrate removal attempts with late or spurious claims or appeals. And once removed, you should have no right to re-entry, settlement, or citizenship.
Hello, everyone. The Prime Minister Rishi Sunak speaking in the House of Commons earlier. Let us take a closer look to imminent or rather pending deportation of illegal migrants to Rwanda. But first, what are the negative effects of immigration in the UK? The refugee situation in the UK is complex and multifaceted. Migration is one of the most pressing, divisive issues in global politics today, and the media plays a crucial role in how communities understand and respond. The refugees, asylum seekers, immigrants and migrants have often been attacked or demonized by political elites as a means to build their popularity and advance their political agenda. For example, asylum seekers were one of the most salient issues during the Brexit referendum in the UK, when the public narrowly voted to secede from the European Union. During the campaign, the Vote Leave group frequently portrayed these migrants as both dangerous criminals, economic and security threats, setting boundaries between us and them. Even the ones that were in that same position before they were offered British citizenship felt they were now much better placed people and had moved 3 classes up the ladder. All because of the political and media hype which swept the country. The media and politicians had found a diligent followers. People easily brainwashed. Let us get back to Prime Minister Sunak and President Kagame illegal immigrant scheme. Under the so-called Safety of Rwanda Act, which the UK Parliament passed earlier in the week, the asylum seekers will be sent to Rwanda capital Kigali to either be granted asylum there or be sent to a third world country. In plain English, be sent to any other African country which is ready to take her or him. Please may I ask you to subscribe to the channel. Thank you. Let us continue. A government that says it has no money for the poor British people in this country can find 120 million to spare on illegal migrant Rwanda scheme. They lie as easily as they breathe. Elections are coming, and so immigration becomes the fore conversation. Cleverly on his way to give them some more money. The majority of people in UK have sympathy for migrants, and some are less understanding. Here we are talking about illegal migrants. The key word is illegal. These are the people who migrate into a country in violation of that country's immigration laws, or the continuous residence in a country without the legal right to. For the majority of the time, illegal migration tends to be financially motivated. People traveling from poorer countries to the richer countries. This is what we are all witnessing happening in the UK. The boats coming from France to the UK border. Are they asylum seekers? This is hard to say, because each case is handled individually by the Home Office. However, some of them are accepted and some are rejected. Why is Britain a preferred country more than France or Germany? Britain is like the El Dorado, where streets are paved with pure gold. Unlike in Germany or France, immigrants who reach Britain instantly acquire the effective status of asylum. While they wait for the cases to be examined, a lengthy process that truly gives them the opportunity to disappear within United Kingdom. They are housed and fed. Not only that, they are given £35 a week, including £25 worth of vouchers, to be exchanged in the shops. After 6 months in the country, they can apply for a work permit. Some can easily work without a work permit because of the black economy in England. They are paid in cash, leaving no traceable record whatsoever. Another reason why Britain is preferred is because of the English language, which is internationally spoken. A lot of people of other nationalities can speak English, and times better than some natives. Having the English language also helps the person to integrate into society faster. Also, another reason could be that the British pound is a lot stronger than other currencies. They can quickly find work and repay the money they borrowed for the transportation. It is obvious, some are coming to England to join their families or friends who are already settled here. The best of all is that, in England, no one has the right to ask you for your papers or identification, unless you are suspected of having committed an offense. You can live and work in England without having the fear of someone tapping on your shoulder for papers. In Europe, everyone is required to carry their identification card all the time. In France, asylum seekers do not have the right to work. They do not have identification papers. They are entitled £180 a month, and although they are theoretically supposed to have access to accommodation in an overcrowded reception center, for the most part, they have to find a bed themselves. Of course, without identity papers, they can do virtually nothing. So, it is Britain that is attracting immigrants. Maybe it is about time the British politicians stopped putting the blame on France. Another reason why immigrants find it easier to travel to England is because most European countries are members of the Schengen group. That makes movement of immigrants a lot easier. For a Belgian or French official, what counts is that those illegal immigrants on his patch who have not applied for asylum will eventually leave the territory covered by Schengen agreement. Please support me by subscribing to the channel. It is completely free. Thank you very much. Let us carry on. What is the £3,000 voluntary Rwanda deportation scheme, and what does it cost? The first failed asylum seeker has already arrived in Kigali. The government offered the failed asylum seekers and illegal migrants £3,000 to voluntarily resettle in Rwanda or return to their country of origin. According to reports by The Times from March, this voluntary scheme is a variation of the deal struck with Rwanda to deport illegal migrants to the East African country and utilizes many of the same mechanisms. Apparently, those who take up the offer are given housing and other support from the Rwandan authorities for up to 5 years, as well as integration programs to help them study, undertake training, and work. However, the same benefits will be available to those who will be deported there under the Rwanda scheme. Voluntary returns are already part of the UK's immigration system, though these are usually to their country of origin rather than a third safe country. Last year, 19,000 individuals with no right to remain in the UK chose to leave. Each one of them received £3,000, and £253 received a reintegration package or flights paid by the Home Office. This is even getting more interesting, or how the government is freely using your tax pounds. A report by the National Audit Office earlier this year showed that the UK government had agreed to pay Rwanda around £182,000 per migrant sent to the country for a 5-year processing and integration package including housing, food, education, and medical services. The Rwanda deportation scheme, as investigated by NAO, found that the UK had already paid $370 million to the Rwanda scheme and had agreed to send additional $120 million once 300 people are relocated. For every person sent under the scheme, the UK will pay £160,000 in installments over the 5 years, plus an additional £20,000 to the Rwanda's Development Fund. If the person relocated decided to leave Rwanda before the 5 years were up, the UK has agreed to pay £10,000 to facilitate their voluntary departure. The actual cost per individual depends on how many people will be relocated under the scheme. For example, the Migration Observatory has calculated that it would cost the UK roughly $600 million to remove 300 people. This equates to $2 million per person. Alternatively, it would cost $4 billion to relocate 20,000 asylum seekers, bringing cost per person down to $200,000 each. The government still argues that the deterrent effect of the Rwanda scheme will bring greater savings than the Rwanda scheme itself. It is definitely a tough decision to make. However, when you think that the government is readily spending so much money on people they have no clue have come from, it pains a lot of people, especially the poor, who are being hard done by some of the councils. Some British people are unable to make ends meet. There is no food, rent is not paid, and some bills are pending. This is the reason why some Britons have lost empathy for illegal immigrants. They have lost faith in the government. When I look at all these figures and accounting, Rwanda accountants who negotiated this deal must be very relieved and proud of themselves. Their president must have given them a deep nod. This whole refugee situation is complex and multifaceted. The Rwanda scheme. The UK has passed the Safety in Rwanda Bill, which allows for transfer of asylum seekers to Rwanda. The policy has been controversial and faced legal challenges. It aims to address the issues of asylum seekers arriving in small boats, with the capacity to send 200 people annually to Rwanda, which is a small fraction of arrivals.
Un concerne.
The United Nations has expressed concerns about the UK's Rwanda asylum law, warning of its potential harmful consequences on global responsibility sharing, human rights, and refugee protection. The UN urges UK to reconsider this plan and seek measures based on international cooperation and respect for human rights laws. Asylum system crisis. The UK asylum system is currently facing a crisis, with a backlog of 100,000 people waiting decision. Asylum seekers are often kept in a state of limbo for years, unable to work and relying on minimal support from the Home Office. Decrease in removals. There has been significant decrease in the removal of rejection asylum seekers from UK, with enforced removals down by 73% since 2010. Legal challenges and changes in the immigration system following the Windrush scandal have contributed to this decline. Refugee statistics. As of 2023, there were 365,000 refugees in the UK, with numbers increasing due to conflicts in Ukraine and Afghanistan. The grant rate for asylum from certain nationalities is above 85%, including a high acceptance of their need to protection. This summary highlights the challenges and changes in the UK's approach to handling refugees and asylum seekers, reflecting a broader debate on immigration and humanitarian responsibilities. This is all, folks. Thank you so much for your time, and I will catch you in the next one. Have a great long weekend coming up for those in the UK. Everyone else, I wish you a peaceful weekend. God's blessings.